Reborn and returning to the moment I was framed for secretly taking photos. I looked at the two familiar, twisted faces in front of me, listening to the piercing female voice ringing in my ears. I smiled happily. My name is Chen Pingong. In my past life, my life started to die from this very subway car, being framed, cyberbullied, and fired. Disowned by my parents. My engagement broken off by my fiance. Unable to take it, I stood on the rooftop. Now, I am back. When the camera was shoved in my face, I calmly rolled up my sleeves. Then, amidst their astonished gazes, raised my fist. A crisp slap echoed over all the noise in the subway. The carriage instantly fell silent. Everyone was dumbfounded. Susan covered her half-face that swelled up instantly. Her eyes bulging out. A few seconds later she let out a pig-slaughtering scream. "Ah, you dare hit me? You stinking astonished, how dare you raise your hand?" She lunged at me like a mad woman. I stepped aside, raised my foot and aimed at the back of Elon's knee, who was holding the phone, and delivered a kick. "Ah!" Elon screamed miserably and fell to her knees, disabled one first. I turned around and grabbed the wrist Susan was swinging at me again. I gave her another backhand slap with even more force. She was slapped so hard she spun half a circle on the spot. "Plunked down right next to you, Lynn." Her mouth bleeding in the carriage. Gasps could be heard one after another. I slowly and deliberately adjusted the rumpled color of my suit. In my past life, I couldn't defend myself no matter what I said. In this life, I will only speak the language they understand. "You, how could you hit a woman?" A young man stood up and accused me. Wanted to play the hero saving the beauty. "They framed me. Didn't you see?" "I didn't see them frame you, but I saw you hitting someone." I was amused by him. "So whatever you didn't see means it didn't happen." The young man choked up, his face turning red, unable to speak. "No matter what, hitting women is just wrong. If you didn't have a guilty conscience, right at this moment." A man wearing a subway security uniform squeezed in. "Oof, who threw the punch?" He took one look at the two women sitting on the ground, hurried over to help Susan up with a look of concern. "Beautiful. Are you all right, Jolly June?" I recognized him. In my past life, it was the sim who snatched my phone and insisted that the security cameras were broken, making it impossible for me to clear my name even till death. Susan, seeing her savior, shed tears instantly. "Mr. Security, it's him. He secretly took pictures of us when we found out he even hit us." Jolly June pointed at my nose. "Hand over your phone." I laughed so hard it gave him the creeps. "On what grounds?" "Oh, on the grounds that I saw you hit someone." I couldn't be bothered to argue. Pulled out my phone and dialed 110 directly. "Hello, officer?" In being framed for secretly taking photos on the subway, the other party is also trying to snatch my phone. The whole carriage was stunned. Jolly June also frowned. "Who are you trying to fool?" I looked at him, articulating every word clearly. "First, you are not a police officer. You have no right to order me around. Second, don't give me that bullshit about the security cameras being broken. Inside this carriage, there is more than one camera, and more than one person has been filling with their phones." My gaze swept across the crowd, pausing for a second on a young man wearing a baseball cap, who was quietly lowering his phone. In my past life, it was his video. That proved my useless innocence only after I died. In this life, I will put the truth. While the witness stand early, the air in the police station's interrogation room was stuffy. The old air conditioner in the corner home, the officer taking notes was surnamed Ma in his 40s. With drooping eye bags, the pen in his hand tapped the desk repeatedly, his whole body radiating. "Inpatient, speak up. Why did you get physical?" I recounted the incident from beginning to end. "They insulted me first. I only hit back. This is called self-defense." "Self-defense?" His pen slipped. "One punch broke her nose. And you call that self-defense? The law doesn't stipulate that when someone curses at you pointing at your nose, you must not hit back when hit or curse back when curse." Officer Ma frowned, leaning forward. "Chen Pingong, I suggest you have a better attitude. Right now, they are accusing you of intentional assault. If the injury assessment shows minor injuries, you'll have to do time for a few years. Your bright future will be completely ruined." This routine again in my past life. It was right here, with these same few words that directly nailed me to the pillar of shame. Only later did I find out that Susan was an influencer who specialized in better games and extortion scam. Her uncle, a minor official in the city, was her biggest backer. But this time is different. I looked at Officer Mall and said word by word, "Officer, I also want to file a report. I want to sue them for defamation and for making false accusations to frame me. They fabricated facts in a public place and maliciously spread them, seriously infringing on my right to reputation, causing the immense mental distress." Officer Mall's face darkened. "You still want to bite back?" "I am merely stating the facts and defending my rights." "Facts? The fact is that you injured someone?" I didn't engage with his remark and continue. "But that subway security guard, Jolly June, neglected his duties and failed to act and might even be their accomplice. I reserve the right to pursue liability. According to regulations, surveillance footage must be kept for at least 30 days. There were cameras at both ends of my carriage. The place where I stood couldn't possibly be a blind spot. If the police claim the cameras are broken, I will get a lawyer and apply for a judicial investigation." The interrogation room fell frighteningly silent. Officer Moss' expression changed. He stared at me intently. Just when there was a stalemate, the interrogation room door opened. A young police officer hurried over to Officer Moss and whispered a few words. Officer Ma looked peculiar. Chen Pingong, your fiance is here. Along with her friend, they said they want to talk to you. Lin Shanro, this name, scraped across my heart like a rusty needle. In my past life, she was the last ray of light I tried to grasp. But when the cyberbullying overwhelmed me, she shook off my hand and ran away. The last message she sent before blocking me, I still remember clearly to this day. Chen Pingong, you really disgust me. We are done. Don't even think about getting the bright price back. And now, she's here, and brought a friend. I instantly guessed who it was. Let them in. The door was pushed open. Walking in front was Lin Shinro in a white dress, wearing exquisite light makeup, her eye sockets red as soon as the man behind her came in. The air became greasy, jawed off on my college classmate, a rich kid whose family got wealthy from demolition compensation, and also the pest who had always been hovering around Lin Shinro like a fly. He was covered in designer brands, a Richard Mille watch on his wrist flashing glaringly. Under the light of the shabby interrogation room, seeing him, I smiled. Oof, great, the enemies from my past life are all gathered here. Seeing the handcuffs on my wrists, Lin Senras hears fellas if they cost nothing. Pingong, how could you hit someone? Do you know how big of a deal this has become? The moment she opened her mouth, it was blank. I didn't utter a word, quietly watching her perform. Jadafon next to her spoke. The internet is exploding. Violent pervert. Where do you expect Shinro to hide her face? He very naturally put his hand on Lin Senra's shoulder and gently patted it. Lin Shinro didn't dodge, but instead leaned into it. Watching the scene, my heart turned icy cold. In my past life, I was fooled by this for your own good facade. It wasn't until I was fired and heavily in debt that I saw news of their engagement. Turned out they were the real couple, and I was just an idiot. Is it a big deal? My voice was calm. More than just big. Jadafon pulled out the latest banana phone, shoved it right in my face. Look, the trending searches have exploded. You're famous now. On the screen was a hide-of photo of me. Did they blur the faces of the two women next to me? The comments section blew up. Pinned at the top was my ID address and company information below that. It was all cursing me. Lines in res body tremble, apologize and pay them immediately as long as they delete the Weibo posts. There is still room to salvage this. Jot off on you immediately chimed in. Pingong, listen to a brother's advice, apologize. I've asked around. That Susan's family has connections you can't afford to mess with. Them. Apologize publicly and pay some money and let this matter draw. He paused. If you don't have money, I can lend it to you first and the interest will just be the market rate. Oh, he's playing the good guy now. Market interest rate, more like a loan shark. Pingong, did you hear me? See, I had no reaction. Lin Shinro grew more anxious. Jadafong is willing to help you. What are you still spacing out for? Agree, quickly. Do you have to wait until the company fires you to be satisfied? Her face was full of disappointment and fear. So my innocence and dignity are not as important as a job. She doesn't care about my reputation at all. She's only afraid it will affect her. The interrogation room door was pushed open again. Officer Moss slammed documents onto the table. Chen Pingong, this is the settlement agreement. The other party demands 500,000 in compensation and an apology video recorded if you agree. Sign it, and this matter is closed. 500,000, still this number. In my past life, this was how they forced me to sign it quickly. I didn't look at the agreement, stared at Lin Shinro, and said, word by word, Lin Shinro, do you believe me? She stiffened. The interrogation room was dead silent. Everyone looked at her. Do you believe I didn't secretly take photos? What's the point of saying this now? Doesn't matter whether you took photos or not. Now everyone saw you hit someone. Can't you act a little more mature? It doesn't matter. I smiled. So my innocence means nothing in her eyes. Jumped off on, stepped forward, looking at me with a victor stance. Hindon, Shinro is also doing this for your own good. Grow up. In today's society, what it is doesn't matter. What others believe is what matters. He picked up the agreement and tapped the signature line with his fingertip, like he was handing out charity. Sign it first. He'll transfer the 500,000 to you first. Just write me an IOU another day. Record an apology video. Say a few soft words. Swallow your pride a bit. Be a man. You should be able to bend and stretch. The triumphant laughter of two women drifted in through the crack of the door. It was Susan and Eland. Boomf. Thought his bones were so hard. In the end he still has to obediently give in. Whoa, 500,000. We struck it rich this time tonight. Let's go to the most expensive Japanese restaurant and make that poor loser pay for it on his knees. Ha ha ha. The voices weren't loud, but every word was like a needle. Yet everyone seemed not to hear. Officer Ma knocked heavily on the table. Sign it quickly, stop wasting time. I looked at the group of people before me. Jadafon, who wanted to travel my dignity with money. My fiance, urging me to confess a police officer inverting black and white. And those two women outside celebrating prematurely. They joined forces to weave a net, trying to make me fall step by step into the abyss. They won't get away with it this time. I picked up the pen. Seeing this, Lin Shinro and Jadafon both instantly breathed a sigh of relief. Officer Ma also leaned back in his chair. With a flick of my wrist, I smashed the pen heavily onto the desk. It made a crisp metallic clatter. Oof, agreement. I once signed 500,000. I won't give a single cent apology video. Keep dreaming. The air froze. Chen Pingong. Are you crazy? Lin Shinro was the first to scream. Do you know the consequences? I see you on shed tears until you see the coffin. Officer Moslam, the desk and lord. Someone come since he refuses to settle. Confirm. Detain him. Two young officers immediately stepped forward and pulled out handcuffs. Judd of Thang's face also turned completely cold. He lowered his voice and threatened Chen Pingong. I gave you a chance since he refused to accept the face given to you. Don't blame me for disregarding our classmate Bun and letting you suffer a bit inside. I looked at his twisted face, feeling only a rush of vengeful pleasure in my heart to attain me. Phew, sure, I took the initiative to reach out my hands, but before you cuff me, I suggest you look at something interesting first. Just as I finished speaking, the door of the interrogation room opened with a bang pushed open from the outside. A middle-aged man wearing a senior police supervisor uniform walked in. A square face, imposing without being angry, followed by two subordinates holding body cameras. When Officer Masa saw the newcomer, it was as if he had been electrocuted. He bounced up on the spot. Director Zhang, what brings you here? The man addressed as Director Zhang didn't even look at him, walked straight to the computer and ordered his subordinates in a deep voice. Pull up the video. Uploaded 5 minutes ago. By the netizen named Justice will not be absent, play it publicly. Soon, a video was projected onto the wall. The picture was shaky, but the audio quality was excellent. Susan and Yilin exchanged a sinister look, followed immediately by Susan tilting her body accurately bumping into me. What are you doing? You're filming me with your phone. Her sharp, ear-piercing voice, through the speakers echoed in the interrogation room. I saw myself on the screen, looking astonished before I could even defend myself. I was drowned out by filthy curses, poor loser, pervert. Every word was like a needle stabbing back into my flesh, but I didn't look away. The color drained from Officer Moss' face, what breaking out on his forehead. Jada Fong's smugness froze on his lips, staring fixedly at the screen. Lin Shinro subconsciously covered her mouth, her body swaying. Her eyes were first shot, then quickly overwhelmed by immense shame and fear. The video was still playing. I was surrounded by passengers. The security guard Jolly June roughly pinned me against the wall while Susan and Elaine had behind the crowd and sneered. The end of the video was a close-up, the camera capturing their phone chat screen. Done. Take my cues later. Bite down hard on the claim this time. We must ruin his reputation completely. The video finished playing. The screen went dark. The two twisted faces were like brands carved into the minds of everyone present. No, this isn't real. It's a fake. Susan outside the door screamed and rushed in, lunging at the computer with beard and claws. The officers reacted extremely fast, twisted her arms behind her back, and firmly pinned her to the desk. Ilan collapsed on the floor, muttering to herself absent-mindedly. Officer Moslit's tremble. Jadafang's face turned from pale to red to green, like a color palette. He felt the gazes around him burning, as if they were going to peel his skin off. I slowly stood up, the handcuffs clinking against each other, making crisp metallic sounds. Director Zhang, do I still need to confess now? Director Zhang's gaze swept across the room, landed on the take-off his handcuffs. Officer Ma tremblingly unlocked them. My wrists regained freedom. A clear red mark left behind, shocking to the eye. Director John's eyes turned cold. Ma Bagawa. Officer Ma's knees went weak, and he fell to his knees with a foot. Regarding your issues, the comrades from the disciplinary committee will come to your door and have a good talk with you. Now take the badge off your chest and give it to me. Ma Bagawa completely collapsed, slumped on the ground like a puddle of moss. Director John's gaze then turned to Susan and Yellen. As for you two, suspected of defamation, false accusations and framing, extortion, the evidence is conclusive. It's an aggravated offense. Take them away, detained and interrogate them separately and immediately. The two women were hauled up. Only then did they wake up as if from a dream, starting their final struggles. Touch me and see what happens, Susan screamed, hoarsely, trying to use her background to suppress them. Director Zhang let out a cold, disdainful sneer. Even if the King of Heaven came today, he couldn't protect you. We will absolutely not let off any scum who tramples on the dignity of. With a wave of his hand, Susan and Elon were mercilessly dragged out. Their cries and curses gradually faded away in the hallway. After handling all this, Director Zhang left with his people. Before leaving, he took a deep look at me. The air froze. Judafon squeezed out a smile that looked uglier than crying and shinnied over to me. Ah, Pingong. It's a misunderstanding. He tried to reach out and pat my shoulder. I turned sideways to dodge, his hand hanging awkwardly in midair. Is that so? Didn't you say the truth? Is it important? And that if I just lowered my head, this matter would blow over? Jada Fong's face swelled to the color of pork liver. He was speechless. Jadafon, put away your hypocrisy. What you are thinking inside, I know better than anyone. Don't ever appear in front of me again. After saying that, I ignored him and turned my gaze to Lin Shinro. She just stood there, at a loss for what to do. To your smudging her carefully drawn eyeliner. Pingong, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have distrusted you. She reached out her hand, wanting to grab the hem of my clothes to seek a sliver of forgiveness if there wasn't this video today. Were you just going to watch me get framed and then you'd with peace of mind? Accept Jada Fong's help and start your new life? I didn't. How could you think of me like that? She shook her head desperately, tears flowing even more fiercely, but it seemed so pale and feeble. I looked at her, and word by word asked the question that I already had the answer to, but still wanted to confirm. Lin Shernro, put your hand on your heart and tell me, did you ever really love me? Lin Shernro was speechless, a color drained from her face, leaving only paleness. Love, perhaps there used to be when my annual salary was 300,000, when I could buy her designer bags and take her to fancy restaurants, but when crisis struck, when my value disappeared, or might even become a burden to her, that superficial love vanished into thin air immediately. Jia Daifan, listening on the side, turned live enough. He pulled Lin Shinro behind him. Chen Pingong, don't you spit blood. What kind of person Shinro is? I know better than you. You're just relying on the fact that you're slightly in the right to try and push all the blame onto Shinro. Our business is not for you to interrupt. I looked at him coldly. I will interrupt. Jadafon was infuriated by my attitude. Don't think you're a big deal just because the tables have turned. This matter isn't over yet. The video of you hitting someone is still hanging on the internet. So what? That was self-defense. The netizens who watched the full video will have their own judgment. Judgment? Netizens are the group with the least judgment. They will only be guided by public opinion. Chen Pingong, he'll give you one last chance. Apologize to Shinro and I can help you suppress this matter. Just wait for the second round of cyberbullying. After he finished speaking, he pulled the still weeping Lin Shinro and turned to leave, reaching the door. Lin Shinro still looked back at me, unwilling to give. I watched their departing figures, my heart completely calmed. Second round of cyberbullying. He'll be waiting. Walking out of the police station, the sunlight was blinding. I took out my phone, turning it on. Countless missed calls and messages flooded in. I first called my parents back, told them I was fine. It was just a misunderstanding and told them not to worry. Then I opened WeChat. Sure enough, things were developing in the direction Jadafon predicted. The appearance of full video causing public opinion to polarize. Some netizens were crying out against the injustice for me. Shocking plot twist. Turns out it was a badger game. These two women are way too disgusting. Recommend immediate sentencing. Support the guy. Well hit, but another kind of voice was quietly emerging. Some marketing accounts and big verses started to steer the narrative, although being framed as worthy of sympathy. Violence cannot solve the problem. Chen Pingong's actions are already suspected of intentional injury. One thing, at the time, the secret filming was fake, but hitting people is real. We should boycott any form of violence. Doesn't anyone think he was too ruthless? The other party is a girl after all. Terrifying when you think about behind these remarks. There were obviously professional promoters manipulating things. The agency behind Susan and ELN wanted to muddy the waters, shifting the focus from false accusation to violence. My phone rang. It was from the company's HR department. Chen Pingong, regarding your situation on the internet. The company's top management takes it very seriously. After discussion, we have decided to suspend you. Please come to the company tomorrow to do the paperwork. Cold, the emotionless notification was the exact same as in my past life. They didn't even give me a chance to explain. In their eyes, an employee who caused trouble was just a burden that could be discarded at any time. I hung up the phone, not surprised the storm had just begun. But I was no longer the Chen Pingong from my past life. It would only shiver in fear. I opened my contacts and found a name that had been gathering dust for a long time. Lu Ruyan. Lu Ruyan's law firm was in the most prosperous CDD in the city center. An entire floor. Outside, the floor-to-ceiling windows were rows upon rows of skyscrapers. When I saw her, she was wearing a sharp black suit. Standing by the window making a phone call, her tone sharp. The contract clearly states in black and white a penalty of 30 million, not a single cent less. You either transfer the money by 5 p.m. today, or wait to receive a court summons. Don't talk to me about favors, those words are not in my dictionary. Hanging up the phone, she then turned to look at me. Her gaze was like an x-ray, standing the up and down, with a sense of scrutiny and assessment. Chen Pingong. Yes, a person involved in the subway incident. Yes. Lu Ruyan walked to the opposite side of me and sat down, crossing her legs, leaning forward, giving me a strong sense of pressure. My consultation fee is 5,000 an hour. Are you sure you want to hire me? I'm sure. I took out a bank card and pushed it in front of her. There is 200,000 in here. Consider it the initial legal fee. If it's not enough, I'll figure something out. This was all my savings from several years of working in my past life. This money was originally intended to pay for Shinro and my wedding house's down payment. In the end, it was directly withheld by her under the guise of a bright price. Lu Ruyan glanced at the card, but didn't touch it. Money is not an issue. I only take challenging cases. Tell me your demands. My demands are very simple. First, I want to sue Susan, Yilin and the agency behind them. The charges include, but are not limited to, defamation, false accusation and framing, and extortion. I want them to be completely ruined and rot in jail. Second, I want to sue the subway company for mismanagement and security guard Jolly June for abuse of power and dereliction of duty. I want them to publicly apologize and compensate for my mental distress. Third, I want to sue those marketing accounts that's the narrative online and personally attack me and hold them legally responsible. Fourth, I want to sue my company Pingong for suspending me without cause. This is illegal. I want them to restore my position and compensate for my losses. On Lu Ruyan's face and interested expression appeared interesting. You are trying to take everyone who has offended you down in one fell swoop since they chose to make an enemy of me. They must bear the price. But have you thought about who you are facing? Lu Ruyan's fingertips tapped lightly on the desk. Behind Susan and the others is a well-known black PR firm. In the industry, they have many tricks. The subway company is a state-owned enterprise. Making them bow their heads is difficult. Those marketing accounts all have capital backing them. As for your company, Pingong grew to be able to become an industry leader in this city. Do you think the higher-ups don't have some tactics? Do you believe that? I believe it. That's why I came to find you. Lu Ruyan smiled. In that smile, carried the excitement of meeting a worthy opponent. What makes you think I can help you? Because you are Lu Ruyan, the best and most expensive lawyer in the whole city in your 5 years of practice. Out of hundreds of lawsuits, 0 defeats. What you excel at the most is turning the impossible into the possible. These details were things I found out in my past life while in despair, frantically searching for how to defend my rights. Unfortunately, back then, I couldn't even afford the consultation fee. Seems you've done your homework on me. Lu Ruyan's smile grew deeper. But just knowing about me isn't enough. I need to know what cards you hold in your hand. My card is the truth. I pushed a USB flash drive in front of her. Here is the complete video and some things I found out. Lu Ruyan raised an eyebrow and plugged the flash drive into her laptop. Inside the files, besides the video, there was also a document detailing Susan and Elon's Badger games over the past year and their extortion of 3 other men, including times, locations, the victims' identities and the final amounts extorted. These were all compiled based on my memories from my past life. In my past life, these victims were afraid of their reputations being damaged, so they all chose to swallow their pride and pay to settle the matter. Their cowardice fueled the arrogance of Susan and her ilk. In this life, I will drag them all out into the sunlight. The more Lu Ruyan read, the brighter her eyes shone. Whoa, how did you get all this? That's not important. What's important is, can these things become weapons in our hands? More than just weapons. Lu Ruyan closed the document, her face showing irrepressible excitement. It's a nuclear bomb. Chen Pingong, you are more interesting than I imagined. She stood up and reached out her hand to me. He'll take this case. Happy cooperating. Happy cooperating. I shook her hand. Her hand was very cold but had a strong grip. However, I have one condition. What condition? From now on, all your actions must follow my orders. In front of the media, you must consult with me before saying anything. I don't want my client to be an uncontrollable hothead, no problem. I nodded. Very well. Lu Ruyan picked up the phone on her desk. Amy, notify the PR department and the legal department for a meeting. We have a big case. I knew my contact from this moment on had truly begun. The storm was about to rise. Louis Rayon's efficiency was astonishing. She completed all preparations in just 1 day. The next morning, her lawyer's letters were simultaneously sent to Susan's agency, the subway operating company, Pingong grew, and the heads of over a dozen marketing accounts. Immediately after, Louis Rayon held a press conference in my name. The scene was filled with cameras and microphones with no empty seats. I wore the suit Louis Rayon had prepared, sitting at the speaker's table, facing countless camera flashes, my expression calm. Louis Rayon, as my representing lawyer, spoke first. She concisely stated the truth of the whole incident and then played the unedited full video. The whole venue was in an uproar. Lu Ruyan then dropped the second bombshell. She announced the other 3 cases of Susan and Elon being suspected of extortion. Although the victims' names were redacted, the modus operandi and the amounts involved were enough to prove this was an organized crime syndicate. My client, Mr. Chen Pingong, is not only a victim of cyberbullying, but also a whistleblower. He bravely stood up to expose the criminal industry chain hidden in dark corners. Lu Ruyan's voice was enormous and powerful, highly infectious. We have grasped sufficient evidence and have submitted it to the police and relevant authorities. We believe the law will give all victims justice. The reporters at the scene went crazy. Questions were thrown over one after another. Mr. Chan, how did you get that evidence? Mr. Chan, Pingong Group has already suspended you. How do you respond? Lawyer Lu, what is the amount of compensation claimed this time? Lu Ruyan gestured for everyone to be quiet and then pushed the microphone to me. Everyone, regarding your questions, I will respond to them collectively here. First, regarding the source of evidence, I can only say justice may be late, but it will never be absent. When a person decides to defend their dignity, the whole world will make way for them. Second, regarding Pingong Group suspension decision, I feel deeply regretful and excellent. Enterprise should not only have the ability to create value, but more importantly, the responsibility to protect its employees. I will use legal means to protect mine rights as a worker. Third, and the most important point, I am holding this press conference not to seek compensation or sympathy. I just want to tell everyone, especially those who have previously or are currently suffering from injustice. I paused, my gaze sweeping across the entire venue. When darkness descends, do not be afraid and compromise, because every time you yield, you are adding strength to the darkness. You must fight back, using all your strength. Even if there is only a tiny beam of light, you must let it pierce through the darkness. When I finished speaking, thunderous applause erupted from the audience. The effect of the press conference was immediate. Online public opinion completely reversed. The voices that previously attacked me instantly disappeared, replaced by overwhelming support. Like a tsunami, Chen Pingong whistleblower severely punished the Badger Game Crime Syndicate. Fingerweight Group owes Chen Pingong an apology. These hashtags quickly occupied the trending lists of all major platforms. A stock price of Susan and Elan's agency plummeted. Multiple partners terminated their contract. The subway company issued a statement overnight, announcing the dismissal of security guard Jolly Jew and holding relevant responsible persons accountable. At the same time, they publicly apologized to me. Fingerweight Group also fell into a public relations crisis. Their official website and stock comments section were overrun by angry netizens. My phone rang. It was an unknown number. Hello? Is this Chen Pingong? On the other end of the line came a familiar, yet disgusting voice. It was John Duffon. His tone carried a hint of fonding and urgency. Pingong, it's me, John Duffon, about what happened before. It was all a misunderstanding. I was also to see, you are the bigger person. Don't lower yourself to my level. Get to the point. I reply, coldly. It's like this. John Duffon paused, seemingly organizing his words. A boss of Susan's company has some business dealings with my family. He asked me to plead with you, asking if this matter can be settled privately. The price is negotiable. They are willing to compensate you within the range of 100 million. 100 million. Truly generous. It seems Lu Ruyan's nuclear bomb really scared them. They wanted to use money to smooth things over. What do you think? I think I can consider it. 100 million with this money. It's enough for the rest of my life. Jobs, reputation, are not worth mentioning in the face of money. Then, you and Shinro stop. I interrupted him. First, I and Shinro no longer have any relationship. Second, you can tell them I will not settle. I want every single one of them to roll into jail. After speaking, I hung up directly and blocked his number. Some people will never understand. Some things cannot be bought with money, such as innocence and dignity. Jadafon didn't give up. He changed numbers and called again and was blocked again. Lin Shinro called. I hesitated for a moment, but still answered Pingong. Why won't you settle? 100 million. That's money we couldn't earn in a lifetime. Are you mistaken about something? Even if I took this money, it has nothing to do with you. How does it have nothing to do with me? We haven't broken up yet. As long as you get the money, we can get married right away. And buy the best house and car. Chen Pingong, have you forgotten you said you would let me live a good life? I did say that. I admit it. But you seem to have forgotten when I needed you the most. What did you do? Lin Shinro, you personally gave up everything we had. I was just confused for a moment. I was doing it for your own good. Afraid you'd go to jail. Jada Fong told me. As long as you agreed to settle, his family could pull some strings. So make Susan and the others withdraw the case. And even clear your criminal record so they were still using these lies to deceive her. Or rather, it was she herself who willingly believed such lies because in her world, interests are always greater than right and wrong. Lin Shinro, I will say it one last time. My business doesn't need anyone's interference. Things are over between us. Don't bother me again, Chen Pingong. You bastard. You ungrateful wretch. Do you think you've won? Without Jia Dafong, you are nothing. You will regret this, she yelled hysterically on the other end of the phone. I didn't waste any more breath directly hanging up. Regret? The only thing I regret is that in my past life, I didn't see her true colors earlier. A few days later, court summons were delivered to all defendants. Lu Rain joined forces with the other 3 victims to file a class action lawsuit. On the day of the trial, outside the courthouse was packed with reporters. I saw those familiar faces again in court, Susan and Elaine, wearing prison uniforms, looking haggard. Their initial arrogance was long gone. Their agency boss was a greasy middle-aged man. At this moment, his face was also ashy. The representatives from the subway company, the legal team from Thinghua and those marketing account heads all lowered their heads. Afraid to look at me, Jadafong and Lin Shinro sat in the gallery. Jadafong probably wanted to come and see if his family's connections were of any use, and Lin Shinro perhaps still harbored fantasies that I would relent in the end. The entire trial process was practically a one-sided crushing. The chain of evidence prepared by Lu Ruyan was complete and fatal. Videos, recordings, transfer records, chat screenshots. Every piece of evidence was like a heavy hammer violently smashing onto the defense stand. The defense lawyers had almost no power to fight back. Their defense was pale and laughable. During the final statements, Susan and Elin wept bitterly and apologized desperately, saying they were momentarily possessed. Hoping for a chance to turn over a new leaf, I remained expressionless, apologizing now too late. When they used the most vicious words to attack me, when they incited public opinion to ruin my life, why didn't they think of giving me a chance? A final verdict. Susan and Elin, for crimes of defamation, false accusation and extortion, with multiple charges combined, were sentenced to 8 years in prison. The agency boss, as the principal offender, was sentenced to 12 years in prison. All illegal gains were confiscated. Along with huge fines, the other involved employees were also sentenced accordingly. The subway company, Tsinghua Group, and all involved marketing accounts were ordered to publicly apologize to me and compensate for my mental distress, lost wages, etc. Totally 3 million yuan. As the gap bell fell, I let out a long sigh of relief. The injustices of my past life finally vanished into thin air at this moment. Walking out of the courthouse, a sunlight was just right. Lin Shinro chased out to stop me. Pingong. Can we really not go back? I looked at her face covered in exquisite makeup and suddenly felt it was very unfamiliar. I didn't answer her and walked straight past her. Not far away, Jadafon was leaning against a sports car, impatiently honking the horn. That was the world that belonged to her and my world would never have her again. Lu Ruyan called out to me, Chen Pingong. Wait a moment, she handed me a document. This is Tsinghua Group's apology letter and an offer letter. They have restored your position and also want to hire you as a director of their newly established PR crisis department. The annual salary is 3 times what it was before. Fingerwood Group's offer letter with hot-stamped gold lettering appeared full of sincerity. PR crisis department director with 1 million yuan annual salary to any wage earner. It's an irresistible temptation. They wanted to use this method to make up for their mistakes and also wanted to tie my talent back to their chariot. After all, someone who could single-handedly stir up such a massive public opinion storm and retreat unscathed. Their PR capabilities have already been proven. What do you think? Blue Royan's eyes carried a look of inquiry. I took the offer later along with the apology letter and put them back into the document folder. Lawyer Lu, please help me reply to them the apology. I accept the offer, I appreciate the thought, but I won't go back. Lu Ruyan seemed a bit surprised. Why? This is a good opportunity. Returning in glory, fiercely slapping the faces of those who look down on you. Isn't that satisfying? It's satisfying, but it's not enough. I looked at the city's skyline in the distance. A company's values are implemented. From top to bottom, Tsinghua Group chose to abandon me the moment I had an incident. Instead of investigating the truth, this show employees are pawns that can be sacrificed at any, and interests are always above everything else. In such a place, even if you gave me a higher position and more money, I wouldn't feel at peace. More importantly, after this incident, I don't want to work for someone else anymore. In my past life, I worked diligently and conscientiously, thinking that as long as I gave it my all, I could exchange it for a beautiful future. As a result, an unexpected disaster turned everything I had into nothing. In this life, I want to live for myself. I want to personally build an enterprise of my own, one with responsibility and warmth. Lu Ruyan was silent for a few seconds, then smiled. I really didn't judge the wrong person and vicious. What are your plans next? I plan to use that compensation money to set up a PR firm specifically to provide legal and PR assistance to those who are trapped in public opinion crises and have nowhere to turn. Just like I once was. Good idea, but entrepreneurship is not easy. You probably want to be able to handle it alone. Therefore, I'd like to invite the great lawyer Lu to be my partner. After all, when it to the law, I know absolutely nothing. I need you to hold the fort. Make me work for you. She raised her eyebrows. Chen Pingong. Your guts are not work for me. It's a partnership. I believe combined with my practical experience. By joining forces we can definitely achieve. As for the shares, you take 60%. I take 40%. She crossed her arms, looking at me with great interest after a long while. Deal. Deal. I reached out my hand with Lu Ruyan also reached out her hand and shook it with mine. Happy cooperating. Boss Chen, happy cooperating. Boss Lu, we looked at each other and smile. A month later. Windtalker Public Relations Consulting Co. Limited was officially established. The company name was chosen by me. We hope we can become the guides for the helpless in the storm, be able to understand their heartfelt wishes and speak out for them. On the opening day, Jadafon and Ling Shinro also sent flower wishing us a prosperous business. I had someone throw the flower baskets along with their goodwill into them. Some people's blessings, I find them dirty. The company's first client was a female college student who was scammed by a training loan and cyberbullied. The second client was a delivery guy extorted for helping up a fallen elderly person. The third client was a housewife maliciously edited by unscrupulous media and framed as an evil mother-in-law. Every case was like a microcosm of my life. Lu Ruyan and I led the team to gather evidence, clarify the truth and fight back against cyberbullying. Winning victory after victory, Windtalker's reputation, rule out her, and we became the last hope. For many ordinary people when facing injustice. One night after working overtime, Lu Ruyan and I walked home side by side. The city's neon lights flickered. Tired? She asked me. Tired. But it's worth it. Yeah. Lu Ruyan also sighed with emotion. Before, fighting lawsuits was just to win. And for the money. Now it seems there's something more called what probably called a sense of fulfillment. She turned her head to look at me, the light from the street lamp dancing in her eyes like 2 bright stars, looking at her smile. My heart also brightened up. The subway in my past life brought me to my death. The subway in this life, however, through a twist of fate made my life steer towards a brand new, bright direction. My name is Chen Pingong, the peaceful boy.